My name's Sierra Goldstein. I'm 18 years old and I've been a part of the E3 program for 4 years. I started out in the BU program and it's now transitioned into the E3 program. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about how the journey impacted me and how E3 now has impacted my education and who I am. So I started out at high school as a ninth grader, and I went for a couple weeks and it just didn't feel right to me. It felt like it was very restrictive, and I had a lot of things that I thought I wanted to pursue and I thought I was interested in, but I didn't feel like I'd have the space to actually pursue that in that type of structure that high school was. So me and my parents decided to disenroll me from the regular school system and enroll in what was then the BU Learning Lab. And basically it was based upon the idea that kids learn per passion through community members, mentors, parents, experts, and things like that. So I started out with that and found a sole core group of mentors and teachers to support me for my passion of sort of natural healing and medicine. And it was great. I did that for about a year, but I found through that process that although the freedom and the space was great, I needed a little bit more structure than just being completely in charge of my own education with nothing really set in place as far as things that need to get done, accountability, and things like that. It was almost a little bit too much space for me, and I feel like a lot of the other kids felt the same way. There wasn't really a balance between the structure that can be helpful and the complete freedom. So with that in mind, I think a lot of administrators and things like that came together and saw the need as well to change that, which morphed it into what is now the E3 program. And that really is based upon the idea of still creating your own educational path with mentors and community members and doing what you love, but also having structure within that. So instead of how I felt like I was completely on my own trying to figure stuff out, I still wanted a high school diploma, I just didn't want to do it the regular way. I was very confused. There was people supporting me within the actual school system, allowing me to learn per passion, do things I love, but also get credit for it and be held accountable. So within that, I was able to continue learning with my mentors, pursuing those passions that didn't necessarily have a classroom, but I was also able to learn online certain things that I felt like I could excel in quicker than just being in school and getting bored out of my mind, in addition to taking college level classes, which was always a goal of mine. I was comfortable in a lot of subjects and felt like the high school level just wasn't challenging me enough, and it gave me the space to take concurrent enrollment classes for dual credit through local community colleges, and I feel like that in and of itself has prepared me a lot more for college, rather than just doing the normal system. But for me, what I've really found is that dipping my toes in a lot of different learning styles and seeing what I really flourished with was important, because now I know what I do best with and what subjects I do best with in what situation. So I took a lot of science classes through AIMS. I did math classes online because I could do them at my own pace, because it was something I struggled with. And I got to connect with local experts and international experts on subjects that I was interested in. Yoga was one, nutrition being another. And it's really opened doors to a lot of things. I got to speak at 2 TEDx's. I went to a South by Southwest concert and spoke about a PBS that I was featured in. Went to Harvard and talked, which is completely nerve-wracking to talk about alternative education at Harvard. And I got to do a lot of concurrent classes. I got to do a people-to-people trip, which is international travel for school credit, and that was amazing. In addition to in school, a lot of the times I felt very restricted. I couldn't really be myself, not only just socially, but intellectually and educationally. I feel a lot more comfortable with my learning abilities and what I've done with school now, as opposed to how I felt before. And those opportunities that I've had have connected me with a lot of people that I feel like are lifelong connections. So instead of just having, a couple teachers each year and then you move on to the next, I really feel like I have a lifelong support system that's going to be there whenever and if ever I need them. And it's mutual, I'm there for them as well, but it's really created a web of sort of mentors and teachers and leaders that I can tap into when I need it, which is a very comforting idea that I'm not alone, and I really feel like I have a support system, which I never necessarily felt before. With all that, I was still able to apply to college. I'm going to graduate high school with, over a 4.0 and all that kind of stuff that people think you can't do non-traditionally. But E3 has really shown me that there's a balance between the two, and that you can really connect into the areas that you need to in order to grow. Not just being told this is what you're going to do for 8 hours a day. Go and do it. It's more, there's guidelines and there's structure and there's things that just have to get done because they have to get done, but there's also an essence of freedom and passion within that, and I feel like that has really allowed me to grow and be more accountable to myself as well. I feel like I've been exposed to a lot more like real life situations and real life learning than I would just in school. I mean, life isn't a classroom. I got to be involved in starting a business, which was really interesting. I've gotten to talk at all those things I did, go to community colleges, and I feel like that in and of itself has made me a more well-rounded person and student. I don't just know textbook things. I know, the business world and a lot of things like that I don't feel like I would have gotten exposure to had I not had the opportunity to pursue those things and pursue those aspects with experts and mentors along the way to support me. So I got to apply to college, and I got in at one of my dream schools, and I'm applying for scholarships and things like that. And it's really interesting. I was very nervous about doing that because I thought this sort of non-traditional path would set me almost back in a way, but it's actually propelled me further. I have a lot more experiences and things to talk about in interviews and stuff to write about than just being one of the herd in a regular high school class. I feel like E3 has allowed me to stand out as an individual, both educationally and just as a person. And I think that space, kids have that space. They might not have the same journey as I did, but I think it's the same outcome. It's happiness, it's passion, and it's sort of learning accountability to yourself. I know a lot of people my age that have never really had to be accountable to themselves. It was always to somebody else, and it was always, oh, if I get this done, I don't have to do anything. But I feel like I really understand the process of what it takes to continue to grow and to continue to learn, not just get through the class, get through the test, and done. So, actual learning, and I feel like I know how to learn, and I know that sounds funny, but I felt like in school I studied and I'd listen to the teacher, but I didn't necessarily learn or retain the information. And because they're things that I'm passionate about and interested in, you can ask me a question, and because I love it and because I remember learning it and there was a process involved in the learning, I remember it, and I'm kind of my own expert at it. So E3's provided me with a really incredible space, and I'm very grateful for it, and I'm